In a hadith mentioned in Sahih Bukhari, Sahih Muslim, Abu Dawud, At-Tirmidhi, An-Nasai and many other books, the Holy Prophet ﷺ said, the best of the people are my generation, the Sahaba, the companions of the Holy Prophet, and then those after them, and then those after them. So he told us who are the best amongst his followers. Those who lived with the Holy Prophet ﷺ, and then the Tabain and Tabe Tabain. These are the people who are best amongst the Muslim Ummah. And just to make sure that nobody disrespects these group of people, he mentioned in a hadith mentioned in Sahih At-Tabarani that whoever abuses my companions, upon them is the curse of Allah, the angels and all the people. So this is just to make sure if anybody has any doubt regarding the virtues of the companions, this hadith puts it to rest. The Holy Prophet ﷺ also mentioned that if we are to follow a way of life, it should be the lifestyle of these very companions. He mentioned that follow my sunnah, stick to my way of life, and that of the four righteous guided caliphs of Islam, which means Abu Bakr, Umar, Usman, Ali, radiyallahu anhum ajmain, the four caliphs of Islam. If you are to live your life according to anything, follow the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. If you want to make an example and you want to follow an example, it is the life of the Prophet ﷺ and the lifestyle of these companions. If you just take a look at the first two Khalifas, Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu anhu and Hazrat Umar radiyallahu anhu, they were the two sides of Islam, the two wings of Islam that gave Islam flight after the death of the Holy Prophet ﷺ. Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu anhu was described by Hazrat Ali radiyallahu anhu as he was the first. In any good deed, in any good action, he was always the first. He was merciful and compassionate. He was the softer side of our deen. And the Holy Prophet ﷺ mentioned that his iman would outweigh the iman of the entire ummah. This was his conviction and his belief. He was the only companion who accepted Islam without question. All of the other companions took their time, some a day, some a few hours, to think about it, reflect upon it, so on and so forth. But he accepted Islam immediately because he was the closest friend of the Prophet ﷺ and he had lived with him his entire life, from the very childhood. So when the message of Islam was told to him, he accepted without question. Regarding Hazrat Umar radiyallahu anhu, he was stern and he was firm on the Sharia. He was the firm side of Islam. So much so that the Holy Prophet ﷺ told him that Ya Umar, the shaitan runs away from you. Even the shaitan is scared of you because of your firm belief on the Sharia. Because you do not bend on the Sharia, the shaitan runs away from you. And he has given up on you. To other people he goes and tries to entice and bring into this, but he has given up on you because of your firm iman on the Sharia, because you will not bend from the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the Holy Prophet ﷺ said this to Hazrat Umar anhu, that if there was a prophet after me, it would have been Umar radiyallahu anhu. And he compared to Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, that because he was also firm, stern, likewise you too remind me of Musa alayhi salam. Something interesting that the companions used to do, in particular Abu Bakr Siddiq and Hazrat Umar radiyallahu anhu, was that they always used to compete for the akhirah. Not for the dunya, that who's got the biggest house and who's got the best camel and who's got the best clothes. No, they always used to compete on the things that related to akhirah. And an incident which we are told is that there was a time when there was a battle and the Holy Prophet ﷺ had asked for people to contribute. And Hazrat Umar radiyallahu anhu was very confident and he brought half the supplies of his house and gave them as charity to be used in that battle. And he was sure that today for once I have beaten Abu Bakr Siddiq. And when Abu Bakr Siddiq came radiyallahu anhu, he had supplied and contributed the entire belongings of his house, everything. And it was at that time that Hazrat Umar radiyallahu anhu realized that there was no beating this man. In the Holy Quran, whenever Akhirah is mentioned, there are certain words that are associated to Akhirah. The first one being race towards Akhirah, or hasten towards akhirah. There is a certain urgency whenever akhirah is mentioned. For example, in Surah Al-Hadid chapter 57 verse 21, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, Sabiqu, race towards, race with one another in hastening towards forgiveness from your Lord Allah and paradise. So these are two things which you should race towards. Everything else we are told to take it easy, calm down, relax. But when it comes to doing good deeds and doing something for the akhirah, race towards it. Hurry up and do it. And paradise, the width of whereof is as wide is the width of the heaven and the earth, prepared for those who believe in Allah and His messengers. Now there's a very interesting lesson that we learn from racing towards the akhirah and the companions, why they chose to compete with each other on these things. Because we are told that there are limited number of seats in Jannah. As opposed to our general opinion, we think that everybody gets to go to Jannah. No. Jannah is a place where there are limited seats, limited capacity. Not everybody gets to go. As a matter of fact, in a hadith mentioned in Sahih Bukhari, the Holy Prophet ﷺ mentioned that on the day of resurrection, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask Adam alayhi salam that sort out your children, that who goes to heaven and who goes to hell. And he says that out of 1,000 children of Adam alayhi salam, 999 will be destined for hellfire and only one will enter Jannah. This is the limited capacity or limited seating in Jannah. Something for us to think about. Oftentimes we think that everyone has a short ticket to Jannah. No, it's not like that. We are told in the Holy Quran to race towards Jannah. Do every single good deed you can to get paradise. It's not going to come easy. The Holy Prophet ﷺ once drew a line on the ground and he said, this is the straight path to Allah, long and straight path to Allah, and all of these offshoots, and then he drew other lines to its left and right, that these are deviations and shortcuts. At the head of each of them is a devil calling people to its way. So the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is long and tiresome, and it takes effort. It's not a walk in the park. But once you get upon it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala eases the path for you. But you have to get upon that path. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned that He will ease you towards ease. But you've got to be willing to go towards that path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when the Sahaba Ikram heard this hadith of the Holy Prophet that out of 1,999 people will go into the hellfire and only one will enter Jannah, their faces turned pale. And these are the companions, the best of mankind, most of whom had been given the good news of Jannah in their own lifetime. Their faces turned pale and they began to worry. And the Holy Prophet ﷺ said that you Muslims, those who are upon this Quran and Sunnah, the followers of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, compared to the large number of other people, will be like a white hair on the side of a black ox. This will be your relation with other people. That the true believers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the true followers of the Holy Prophet ﷺ are like a white hair on a black ox. These are the true followers of Islam. And then he said, I hope that you will be 1/4 of the people of Jannah. And the companion said, Allahu Akbar. And then he said, I hope that you will be 1/3 of the people of Jannah. And the companions again said, Allahu Akbar. And then he said, I hope that you will be 1/2 of the people of Jannah. Meaning that my ummah, my true followers will be 1/2 of the people of Jannah. That may Allah grant them into Jannah. And again the companion said, Allahu Akbar. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then mentions in Surah Tawbah chapter 9 verse 100,
والسابقون الأولون من المهاجرين والأنصار والذين اتبعوهم بإحسان رضي الله عنهم ورضوا عنه وأعد لهم جنات تجري تحتها الأنهار خالدين فيها أبدا ذلك الفوز العظيم.
That and the foremost to embrace Islam of the Muhajirun and the Ansar. These are again companions of the Holy Prophet. The foremost to embrace Islam of the Muhajirun and the Ansar are those who followed them exactly in faith. Think about this one. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us that those who embrace Islam, they are upon the faith of these Ansar and Muhajirin. Whatever religion they were following, these people follow the same religion. Then he mentions, Allah is well pleased with them as they are well pleased with Allah. He has prepared for them gardens under which rivers flow, which is paradise, to dwell therein forever. That is the supreme success. So in this verse of the Holy Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes it clear on what path of Islam we should be following. So the Aqidah and the acts of worship that we should be following are those of the companions. The same creed, the same Aqidah and the same Ibadah or the same acts of worship. No deviations, no innovations, no additions, no deletions. Whatever Aqidah they were upon, whatever version of Islam they were following, follow the same one. And call yourselves Muslims. Be upon the religion of these companions, who were the best of mankind.